Hello everyone, welcome back to the Farmhouse Table. Well, as you could see by today's title, this is not a video that I normally do, but there's been so many requests for weight loss videos. Many of you know I've now lost 49 pounds since July. Just decided to make a life change and I've been very consistent and anyway, that's where we are today. Now, I know that everybody's like, how'd you do it? What do you eat in a day? All that kind of stuff. But what I want to do first is I wanted to do a video that lays out the foundation of how this all happened in the first place. There is a lot you don't know, guaranteed. And I have family that watches my channel and they're also going to be probably surprised by a few things that I say too. So, you know, this isn't going to be like a sad, sappy video, but I'll tell you this. At some point in my story, I am sure you're going to be able to relate because I have been on the full spectrum of a weight loss, weight gain journey. So I have my nice heated blanket to keep me cozy, and I have my little coffee sitting in front of me, and I made notes because I think it's really important to kind of present this as a timeline and how things started. So y'all grab yourself a drink or a snack or both because I don't know exactly how long this video is going to last, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So many of you know I am in my mid 40s and, so born in the 70s. And in the 70s, we all know, just it was a different time then. And I'm not like trying to get into all of that, but, with exercise coming out, jazzercise, aerobics classes, leg warmers, headbands, Richard Simmons. I don't think he came out in the 70s, but you know what I'm saying. So anyway, it was a different time than it is now is what I'm trying to get into. So we're just going to start from the beginning when I was young. So when I was young, a lot of people, family members and everything, they'd say, oh, wow, you're a big girl. That I'd be called a big girl all the time. I'm the middle of two sisters whom I absolutely adore, but I was the tallest, shoulders, hips, and, I guess comparatively, and my mom was very small too, so people, yeah, she's such a big girl, and that big girl hearing that all the time, it does something to a kid, and it's not like, I didn't cry about it or anything like that, but in the back of my mind, it was kind of always there, growing up. And, I compared myself with other people and I was like, if you take the group picture in the classroom, I was always on the back row, you know what I mean? And I'm 5'9" now. It's not like, I'm super tall, but I grew up really, really fast. So anyway, that stigma was always in play and, just kind of looking at everybody else and, going shopping and me having to get, bigger sizes. Honestly, when I look back, I wasn't even big at all. I was just tall and I looked more grown up. So anyway, years passed until about 8 to 10 years old. Now, the next thing that I'm getting ready to share with you, I don't want any negative comments. That may happen anyway, but listen to what I have to say first, okay? So it was an Easter, okay? It was Easter. And part of our Easter tradition was that our parents would hide our Easter baskets and we had to go look for them in the house. And so mine ended up being in the laundry room. And then, my two sisters, I don't know where theirs were, but we all come together, in the living room after we find our baskets, and like we would trade candy and all that, the stuff you do when you're little, and it's so much fun. Anyway, so when I found my Easter basket, I was taken back. Even being 8 to 10 years old, something like that. I found a basket full of Slim Fast. So there was Slim Fast shakes, protein bars, snacks, meal replacement things, just all. I have a hair on my forehead. It keeps itching me. I'm sorry. All kinds of Slim Fast products in my Easter basket. Now, be nice, okay? So I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, she had such horrible parents to do that. My mom and I were super close, super close. She's now passed away. Like, she was seriously like my best friend, okay? And it was a different time. That's kind of like what I was explaining before. It was a different time back then, especially with diet stuff. Like, it was kind of newer, products like Slim Fast and, Weight Watchers and all that kind of stuff. And my mom and I, as adults, we talked about that, that situation at Easter, because let me tell you, I was in that laundry room with that Slim Fast Easter basket, knowing I had to go into the living room, and my other sisters got candy and toys or whatever they got in their Easter basket. And obviously nobody wanted to trade anything with me. But anyway, we talked, my mom and I just spoke about it, once, we were adults and that kind of thing, when we were just reminiscing. And, she did not mean for it to be harmful. Okay. She really did not. Now I have a fuzz in my eye. What's happening? She did not mean for it to be something that was supposed to embarrass me or hurt my feelings. Like, she was genuinely trying to help, because by the time I was about 10 years old, or 8 to 10 years old, I always confided in her, and, I'm like, oh, I'm just always bigger than everybody else. But the thing is, maybe she misconstrued, like it was bigger being taller or whatever, either way, she did not mean to hurt my feelings. And I know that, and I know that sounds horrible, but it is something that has stuck as a memory for me of, I'm not saying that she caused all the stuff that I've gone through, because I'll explain. But it just made me more self-conscious and, brought down my self-esteem, but I do not blame my mom. So do not put things in the comments bad about my mama. Okay. Love y'all. I know you won't. Hopefully. Okay. So as I was, oh, by the way, I gained weight eating that Slim Fast stuff, because I was eating my little sorrows away, and it was meal replacement. So it was actually more caloric than having a regular Easter basket. So no point there, right? Something else I would do, when I was 10, 12 years old, something like that, is I would go, especially in my older sister's closet, and I don't know why I wanted to, like, not torture myself, but I would try to put like her jeans on or her shorts on, and they would be not even just a little small, but a lot small. Kodiak, come lay down. I just don't want him to bark. Here he comes. So I don't know why I did that. I already knew that they weren't going to fit, but I would just try them on, and it's like, see, you're too big. Like, it's like I just had to keep beating myself up for some reason. So here we go. Years passed. Now we're in high school. I was very, very, very shy, and just just really shy in high school. I don't know what happened, y'all. But when I tell people, like friends and stuff, that I was shy in high school, they laugh because they don't think I'm being honest. But it's true. When we would read in the class and stuff, I would be like, please don't call on me. I don't want to read out loud. Anyway, so I'm in high school by this time, and yeah, you hear stuff in high school, all that kind of stuff of, hey, you can not eat food and you'll lose weight. So y'all, unfortunately, I went down the road of eating disorders. I got to a point where I was so careful when I was brushing my teeth not to swallow any toothpaste because I thought it had calories in it. Like, just awful. Just really, really, really awful. And I never felt better at the same time, even though I knew I was doing something horrible to my body. It was just the feeling of weighing less. And honestly, I don't even remember if I really weighed myself. It was just like what I looked like in the mirror. I don't remember a scale at that point in my life, like getting on a scale constantly. Sorry, here goes the allergies, everyone. So yeah, I lost a lot of weight. My eyes just looked like I was punched in the eyes because they were just so like black. They just didn't, I didn't look good. Okay. But I wasn't like, deathly skinny or anything like that. I just had lost a lot of weight, and my body was, it was just not healthy. So as I was starting to lose a lot of weight, my clothes were getting bigger, that kind of thing. I wanted to, it's so weird because I wanted to lose weight, but I also wanted to hide that I was losing weight. So when I was at home, I would wear layers of clothes to make myself look bigger. I felt like this weight loss, even though I was obviously not doing it correctly, it was just very personal to me. It's like I almost wanted to do it without anybody else knowing. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but I don't know where this picture is, but there was one picture of me standing, I think I was standing in the kitchen, and I was just looking back, and somebody just, we didn't have cell phones back then. You know what I'm saying? Well, there were cell phones, but you didn't take pictures, So this was from a camera. And I looked awful. I looked really washed out, just like really pale, and my eyes looked really dark, and I was like, my mouth was just like hanging open. So anyway, I never got to the point where I was like, close to 100 pounds. Like, I wasn't skin and bones or anything like that. Because this didn't last too long. So let me explain. All right, so we lived in a neighborhood where our next door neighbor's backyard backed up to our backyard. And we always babysat the neighbor's kids often. And so during this time, after I had lost weight from starving myself, never do that, it's horrible. When I was babysitting next door, my mom, she came over and knocked on the door, and I answered, and she's like, brought you your favorite dinner. So she had made me my favorite dinner. And then she proceeded to walk home, and I was like, oh, thank you so much. And she walked back home, and to my surprise, it was a setup. She stood at the back of our house. We had a sunroom that was all windows, and she stood back there. And as she watched me take my favorite meal that she made me, and I had thrown it, I was on the back deck where I was babysitting, and I threw the food over to the dogs in their backyard. And she was just waiting for me to do it. It's like she knew I was going to do that, which you shouldn't give dogs human food. I mean, we do sometimes, but I'm just saying, like, now thinking back on that, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even remember what that favorite meal was. Honestly, I just don't, because I was so, when she confronted me, I was so scared. Like, oh, it just freaked me out. So anyway, basically we got treatment, better, no more starving ourselves. Fantastic, right? And things were actually getting better after that. Let me take a sip. Oh, my throat's getting dry. Things were getting better after that. After the recovery of that whole situation, I managed to keep a healthy weight, cared more about my body, that kind of thing. And this was coming into like my 20s, okay? And anyway, so the next event that happened, all right, a family member of, I was out with, I'm trying not to be specific because I don't want to tell my family stories that, I don't want to use names or my relationship with them, so I'm not being specific. So I was out with family one day, and one of my family members had an anxiety attack, and she had been having those for a little while, here and there. And we were at a restaurant eating, and she's like, or they were like, oh my gosh, I'm having anxiety. I gotta go. And I was like, I was just thinking to myself, I don't understand. Just calm down. Like, I never had one before, so I just didn't get it. And they said, you don't understand. It's like all in your mind, and then it starts physically. I said, well, if it's all in your mind, just tell yourself not to have one. Wow. All of my people that have anxiety are like, girl, please. Because that'll only make somebody with anxiety feel worse, because when you're having an anxiety attack, you want to be around people that are understanding. And obviously I wasn't. Well, then here comes my surprise. Okay, so here I was. This is something else y'all don't know about me. I was a veterinary technician for almost 15 years. So I have been working with animals a lot. I did behavioral training, loved being a vet tech. We worked with the Guilford County Animal Shelters. We worked with a Greyhound Rescue. Like, it was fantastic. I absolutely loved that. Anyway, and I do miss it sometimes, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd ever do that again. Very emotional place to work. But anyway, I was a vet tech, and one day I wasn't at work. I was out. I don't even remember where I was, which is a surprise to me, because anyway, all of a sudden I felt like a freight train of noise and feeling. I know this is really weird way to say it if you've never had anxiety attacks or anything before. And it was like a freight train, like the feeling of it almost coming at you, like as if I'm standing there and it's coming at me with the loud sounds and the feeling of being scared to death because a freight train's coming at you. And that was my first anxiety attack. Unfortunately, it runs, I don't know a lot about it as far as genetics goes, but we had a lot of people in our family that had to deal with anxiety. So then I understood, well, just tell yourself not to have one. I knew absolutely how ridiculous I sounded when I said that after experiencing my first anxiety attack. Y'all, it was horrible. So this is what happened next. Loved being a vet tech, did it for a long time. And all of a sudden, my life started crumbling before me, basically. Okay. Uh, Joey and I were not married at this point, but, uh, we were living in an apartment, and I would drive to go to work, and I might have an anxiety attack on the way to work. Well, I noticed that my air conditioning in my car was on the way to work. And so the next day I would drive, I wouldn't put the air conditioning on, because then I'd think about the anxiety I had when the air conditioning was on. Then I could chew gum on the way to work. Had an anxiety attack remembering that I was chewing gum. Can't chew gum and drive to work. Another anxiety attack. Then I would have an anxiety attack if I passed by a certain sign on the way to work, because I remember seeing that sign when the height of my anxiety attack was happening. So little by little, and y'all, if this just sounds like Looney Tunes, I'm so sorry, but this is just my experience. Little by little, I was cutting, I was just putting myself into a box, our apartment, and eventually I didn't leave, because if I left the apartment, then I would have an anxiety attack. So it was just so, I left work, I couldn't do it anymore. And, wow. So it was a really tough time. It was a really, really tough time. So I went to the doctor. And I was prescribed Paxil. Well, the doctor said, Amber, you're either going to gain weight or you're going to lose weight. And I was like, great, because I know which direction this is probably going to go in. So you can, he said the medication, sometimes people react where they gain weight, some where they lose. Okay. So I was on the medication, and y'all, yes, did the medication work? Heck yeah, it worked. And I was working as a vet tech again. I was doing my thing, I was able to leave. I could do whatever I wanted, but y'all, that Paxil, yes, it worked for what I was dealing with. But like soap operas, how you can watch the show from the 80s and then the same people are still acting in it like 30 years later, but they don't look that much different because they have that soft lens that makes everybody just look delightful. That's how I saw myself when I looked in the mirror when I was on Paxil. I didn't see myself. I didn't connect. I knew I was gaining weight because I was eating like an insane person. And for some reason, it didn't matter to me. I didn't even care that I wasn't rebelling. It was just like there was something that wasn't connecting. And I literally, y'all, I was drinking like 6 cans of grape soda a day among everything else. And let me tell you, when I had a day off, like when Joey would be working and I'd be at home, I'd go to McDonald's and I'd place orders that it seemed like we were going to have an office meeting. Because I made sure to get not just one drink, because I didn't want them to think I was going to eat all that food. But it was just for me. Yeah. It was like my stomach was a never ending pit. Like I never got full, So, this went on for a while. I gained a lot of weight, over 100 pounds. And that was in less than a year. It was pretty crazy. It was really, really crazy. So anyway, I guess when Joey and I were at the apartment or whatever, like when we were living there, I guess I was working and he had a day off, something like that. I don't remember. But y'all, I came home and sitting on the kitchen counter was a box of, like, you know, the brand Entenmann's, if I'm saying that right. It was a huge pastry sitting on the kitchen counter, and I about passed out. And this is why. Because that was hidden in my closet. He was looking for something that he needed and found it. I was hiding food because I didn't want him to know how much I was actually eating. And that's part of the McDonald's situation, because we lived in an apartment, so I would like get rid of the evidence in the dumpster, you know what I'm saying? But obviously I was gaining weight and so fast. So he knew something was up. And let me tell you, y'all, when I know you don't know Joey, like I know Joey, obviously, but he is such an amazing man. He is, you know, my mom always used to say, because Joey was really good friends with my older sister. That's how I met him, in high school. And we'll go over that when we do our Q&A. But my mom always used to say, this is when Joey, and we were all in high school. She just loved Joey. My mom loved Joey. When he used to come by the house to visit my older sister because they were good friends, she used to say, I wish all my girls could marry a Joey Moorhead. One of them did. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, but let me tell you, when I saw that pastry on the kitchen counter, I was on fire. I probably had flames coming out my head. I was so angry. And you know what? I don't think it had anything to do with that he found it. It's because it was found. And like, that was my little secret, you know? And I yelled at him a lot. I feel horrible about it, because the reason why he did it and why he kept explaining it to me was that he didn't want that to be where I was hiding anything, and he wanted to be able to help me, because it's a problem. It's a problem. Now listen, okay, if you have, you know, your little chocolate stash that you keep in a certain place away from your kids, you know, and it's like yours, understandable, right? But here I am. I mean, I had a bakery in my closet. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was just hiding food from him. And it was the wrong thing to do, but I wasn't all there. You know, that Paxil really had me messed up. But anyway, when he would be at work, and I'd like during the week, if he was at work and I would be off from work, I would just literally eat and lay on the couch all day long. And like, I can't even, I know I'm not trying to jump forward, but I can't even imagine being like that anymore. It's just not, like, I'm always like, let's go, let's dance. You know? All right, I got to flip my page, y'all, because we finished the notes on that page. Oh, what I want to do next is I'm going to insert a picture. Now, let me just tell y'all, this picture is so blurry because this was from a while back. Either it was taken with a Polaroid, or not a Polaroid, it wasn't that long ago, or a crappy new phone. I don't know, but the picture's really, really blurry. You can actually see Joey in the picture, and I think my mom's in the picture, but it's so blurry. And I'll try to like put an arrow, or I'll circle myself in the picture, but here, I'll put it in here somewhere. So that was, I don't even know if that was at my heaviest, but y'all, if you can just see like the real estate I had going on up here, my cheekers and everything. So anyway, now if you're like, well, don't you have a better picture? No, because I did not want to have pictures taken of me. So no, I don't. That was for somebody's baptism. So I like had to be there because I did not want to show up to anything in front of anybody. I'd go to work. That's about it. So anyway, moving on. We had, like I said, Joey and I were living in an apartment. We had my mom over for dinner one night. And I was still on Paxil, okay? And I think my mom was in the kitchen, Joey's in the living room or something like that. And I was in the guest bath. And I don't know what happened. I just screamed in the bathroom and I said, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't do this anymore. And they come running in because they're just like, what the heck? Because she was just fine a second ago. Well, I brought my mom to tears and I made Joey really upset because let me tell you, I don't want to get too TMI, but I wasn't showing off my body like to Joey, if you know what I mean. So it's like I was like in full onesie mode like all the time. Like I just didn't want anybody to see me. Anyway, I said, I just can't do this anymore. They come running in and they're like, what? What can't you do? What's happening? And y'all, this next part, my mom she just fell to her knees and started crying and praying. So I lifted up my shirt and I said this, and I lifted up my shirt and because I had gained weight so fast, it looked like a railroad of Band-Aids on my stomach because my skin was stretched so far that my pants or whatever I was wearing, it would just rub against, not even that hard, and my skin would start bleeding. So I had like a railroad tracks of Band-Aids on, and my mom was like, what is this? Like what I don't know if she thought I had harmed myself or whatever with the Band-Aids. And I explained, I was like, this is what is going on. And, she was just so upset. She was so upset. And I just said, I can't do this anymore. Now, this next part, don't ever do. I just got my brain together somehow. And I said, I got to get off this Paxil. I don't care if I live in an anxiety attack mode for the rest of my life. I don't care. I got to get off this Paxil. Got to get off. And the doctor clearly said, you need to come make an appointment so I can wean you off. Well, I just wasn't, I was like, I can't do it another day. I can't do it another day. So I just got off of it. I cold turkey. Y'all don't ever do stuff like that. You should listen to your doctor. I could have had really bad side effects. Thankfully, I didn't. I had nausea. And I think I, just felt anxious. But, you always need to go to your doctor for that kind of thing. But I just did it cold turkey, y'all. And it was a few days later, it was probably like 3 days later, I go into the same mirror that I just screamed, I can't do this anymore. I went into the same mirror and it's like, remember that fuzzy lens, like I said, like the soap opera fuzzy lens? It wasn't there anymore. And I looked at myself and I said, and I think I lifted my shirt up and I said, holy cow. And then I made myself laugh because I don't know. It was funny to me because I was like, here we are in this moment, So yeah, I was like, yeah, literally, holy cow, So, and after that moment, honestly, like I did so much better with my anxiety. I don't know. I think a big part of it has to do with Joey because he was glad I got off of the medication, but he's like, you're safe with me. it doesn't matter where we are in the entire world, whatever you need, I will get you to a place. If you ever have a panic attack, and I will make you feel better, I will make you feel safe, and I will make you feel comfortable. Like, he's so amazing, right? So time goes by, and eventually Mr. Joey asked me to marry him. And of course I said, heck yeah. I didn't say that, but I was really excited. I was really, really, really excited. Well, y'all, that was a partial turning point for me. I thought to myself, if there's any motivation, y'all know how it goes. If there's any motivation that I want to get smaller, get my life together, I want to walk down that aisle, not feeling proud to look in the mirror, but feeling proud and having Joey feel proud of his wife for coming that far, and as far as I could, get myself in shape and stuff for the wedding, because I was heavy. Now, let me tell you this real quick. So I got off that Paxil cold turkey. Don't do that. Just like the biggest thing that I had changed, well, first of all, I wasn't even hungry. I didn't feel like I was hungry all the time. So that medication literally made me feel like I could just keep eating and I'd be fine, right? So I had immediately stopped drinking like the 6 cans of soda a day. Like, that was out the window. And just like that, just from doing that, like, I had lost 20 pounds in like no time at all. Like, it was so crazy. But I knew I needed a plan, and I didn't know a lot about diet or exercise. I just didn't know that much about it. And so I decided, I want to have this goal. I want to lose weight before I, get married. So this is exactly what I did. And I lost over 100 pounds at this point for the wedding. I was very consistent, and I did Windsor Pilates. Y'all let me know if you know Windsor Pilates, Billy Blank's Thai Bow. And I don't want to say I did keto, but I did like low carb. I did low carb. So that was like, those were my 3 things. I exercised, or 2 things. I exercised consistently, and I ate low carbs. He's over here scratching his little ear. You good? Okay. So lost the weight, felt great in my wedding dress. I actually had to have, my mom bought me a beautiful wedding dress, and I had to have it taken in for, alterations, because I lost too much weight to wear the dress. And let me tell you, it was strapless. So it's like you had to have that altered, or we would have a show. It'd be a whole show. So anyway, very confident. We went on our honeymoon. We had the most fabulous time. I felt great about myself. I was just like, woo, So we were married for a little while. And then, we wanted to try to start a family. And so we were trying. And y'all, listen, I don't even think I knew what I know now. Now that, we're trying, if it happens, it happens. But I know how everything like works down to the minute now. I don't even think I knew really about ovulation windows and fertility time. I know, I'm not trying to get all TMI, but I just didn't know. And we tried and tried. And it was like 1.5 years of trying, still nothing. And poor Joey, I was like, get the pillow. I got to put my legs up. Like, he's afterwards, and he's like, honey, I'm not trying to be like mean, but I'm starting to feel like a science experiment over here, because my purpose was starting to change. Instead of having time with my husband, I was making a baby. You know what I'm saying? And I like became obsessed over it. So he was like, I'm just feeling like a science experiment. Poor guy. So then it had been so long, went to the gynecologist, and they put me on fertility drugs. Not anything like major, no IVF, nothing like that. Just to ensure ovulation, like whatever. So I was on that for a while, y'all, and I still didn't get pregnant. But I was so uptight. Like, I was like stressed out about it. You know, you can't stress it and get pregnant. I mean, it's just like, I mean, you can, but it's not good to. It doesn't increase your chances, we'll say. So then, you know what? I told my mom, I was like, this is just not happening. I just don't even understand. And my mom sat down with me and she's had a little heart to heart. And she said, honey, you've got to let go and let God. You've got to let go and let God. So after talking to her, she's amazing. Love my mama. I got off of the fertility drugs and I was letting go and letting God. So me and Joey and I went on a vacation with my mom and her husband at the time. And it was just the four of us. And I'm really trying not to like give too much information away. But let's just say that's where things happened. Only once. And yeah. So I got pregnant after I let go and let God. And, you know, it's like, she's like, just enjoy yourself. Stop being so stressed out and da-da-da. You know, so much fun to talk to your mom about that. But anyway, so I got pregnant. And y'all, I loved being pregnant, but with Jay's. So Jay's is older. And he, like, I was nauseous a little bit in the beginning of the pregnancy. And then all of a sudden, somebody flipped a switch. Pew. I'm hungry. And I'm like, I am so hungry right now. I don't know what to do. And like, I had just eaten. Like, it was insane. Well, y'all, I gained 90 pounds with Jay's. 90. And I thought, well, gosh, he's going to be like a 50-pound baby, I guess. No. But he was 10 and a half pounds. C-section. After 22 hours of trying. Yeah. That's just a whole nother story. So, yeah. And had Jay's, oh my gosh, love. Oh God, just eat him up. I love that boy. And he was such a beautiful, beautiful baby. Oh my gosh. Anyway, the doctor said, now, y'all, don't try to get pregnant again until, like, don't try to get pregnant until it's been 6 months after, like, basically till our son is 6 months old. And Joey and I had this conversation and we're like, you know, it took a long time for us to get pregnant with Jay's. So literally the 6-month mark, we did the dance and got pregnant the first time. So the kids are very close in age. And we wanted them close in age. So that's why we didn't wait, is because we purposely wanted them close in age. And it happened, but we just thought, well, let's do that like right at the 6-month mark because it took so long the first time. And then I talked to the OBGYN about it. I said, yeah, I was like, we just, you know, we waited 6 months and then all of a sudden I got pregnant right away. He goes, well, once that Cadillac gets used to parking in that garage. And I was like, okay. Never heard that one before. I didn't know how to react. Okay. So, and I only gained 15, I think, pounds with Ellie because I gained so much with Jay's. You know, I was like already on the hefty side. But yeah, gained like 15 pounds with her. So now, stay-at-home mom, doing my thing, loving every second of it. Love it. I loved being a stay-at-home mom. Loved it. Excuse me, now I'm having hiccups. So, yes. So, stayed at home, had a good girlfriend that had a baby that was about the same age as mine. We got together all the time, blah, blah. Well, we just one day, we're like, you know what? We should try out a class at a gym. And that is all she wrote. My story changed quickly from here. So we ended up taking Zumba, which I know a lot of y'all have probably heard of, dance class, Latin dance class. We took Zumba. They had childcare there. Let me tell you, we had a blast because we were just used to sitting. She'd usually come over to my house and we would just, have coffee and just hang out and talk and da-da-da. And then, man, once that idea of, starting classes at the gym, and it was such a great release just to dance and just have fun with other women. And we just had such a blast. The kids loved being in the childcare. It was such a win-win situation. Of course, it's good for your health, everything like that. So, we joined that gym and we're very consistent. I would probably take classes at least 4 times a week. Loved it. Okay. So because I loved it so much, I eventually got my group certification and I taught a dance class for, I don't know, I think it was 12 years. And I loved it. And my class was dance party mix. So it wasn't Zumba. I wasn't Zumba certified. I was, I had my certification for group fitness. So what I would do is I'd have my dance party mix classes, and those would be the music would be, it would have some Latin, hip hop, 80s, rock. We do all of it. It was so great. And then I'd also teach sculpt classes, lifting weights, that kind of thing. Almost all the time it was women that would take my class. And you'd burn, baby, burn. And it was so good. So good. And then I actually got my personal training certification as well. So then I was teaching classes and personal training at the gym. And y'all, I really made a career out of it for several years. I had a lot of clients. And when I would talk to them, they would look at me and, I was in shape, 6-pack and all. I was very, very in shape. But the crazy thing is, y'all, I weighed probably 20 more pounds than I weigh now because of all that muscle I had. It makes a difference. Isn't that just crazy? Anyway, let's not go there yet. So I had a bunch of personal training clients teaching all the, I was working out all the time and I was having the best time, right? Well, I was also just losing so much weight from exercising so much. And my dance classes were really intense, a lot of jumping, just flailing. No, it was a lot of, popping and dropping and all kinds of stuff. And all of a sudden, from losing so much weight, I started in my lower abdominal area, I started to have a lot of pain. And it got so uncomfortable that I couldn't dance like I wanted to. And I did not like anything getting in the way of my dance because I loved it. It was so fun. And so I went to the doctor and I was like, what can I do? I'm in so much, it was when I would jump a lot, the skin, I had so much skin on my stomach that it would just you're jumping and the skin's going up and down. And he said, you have intermuscular inflammation. And I said, I understand why, because I've got a whole kangaroo sack of skin, And I said, is there anything I can do? He's like, not really, besides having skin removal. And I said, well, okay. I said, will insurance cover it? And he said, no. And I said, but it's causing me pain when I'm trying to do my job. He said, too many people have taken advantage of the system, and they only, now it may be different now, y'all. This was a while ago, so don't quote me, but they said that you could only have skin removal if you had gastric bypass. And which I have heard is, that's not an easy way out either. I know that that's still challenging, but it was surprising to me that I did it, naturally with exercise and everything like that. And that was just poo-pooed. So whatever. So I was like, I've got to get it done. So we made it happen, and I got a skin, had my skin removed, and it was, let me just tell you something. I would never, it was a tummy tuck. Y'all know it. I would never have that done again. I was in so much freaking pain. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But eventually got better. And then once I was healed, I was like, hallelujah. I was so glad I did it. But for me, and I know some other people that's had it done, and they're like, oh gosh, it didn't bother me at all. And I'm just like, oh, I don't see how, but everybody's different. Y'all know everybody's different. So anyway, I went back to teaching, and everything obviously needed time to recover. I did start teaching before I was supposed to start. So I had some swelling and all that kind of stuff. But eventually I was completely healed and everything like that. But now that I was feeling so great, and I was, was completely healed, and man, my dance classes, like, I just feel like I'm on top of the world because I don't have that inflammation on my, abdominal region. And so I was just dancing so hard. I jumped so high. Like, I was just, ooh, and it was so fun. But years and years from doing that, my body really started to break down. I was just exercising so much. So, basically, we'll just kind of go over the body parts here. I had, which was my first video on YouTube, was my shoulder surgery video that I had on my right shoulder. So it's crazy because I'm actually left-handed. So it wasn't even my predominant arm, which made things easier. So I had rotator cuff. It was like 6 things or something. I don't remember how many things, maybe 5. I don't remember, but there's a bunch of stuff that they had to do. Like, I know I had bone spurs, like on the edge of my shoulder bone. They had removed some of my shoulder bone. But listen, one of my best friends, she worked at that surgical place, and she was my nurse. Like, how freaking amazing is that? She was an angel. Like, she knows like how much that meant to me. That was absolutely amazing. So anyway, had the shoulder surgery done, and they're like, you're probably going to need it on the other side too eventually. But I stopped dancing. I did stop dancing. I'd go in once in a while to, teach classes here and there, but I wasn't really teaching anymore. Because I really didn't want to mess up my other shoulder, So anyway, long story short, I had also gone to the doctor because my knees were so messed up. This is before I quit dancing. My knees were so messed up. They were like, you're going to need your knees replaced. And I was like, wow, this is great. And I said, is it the same surgery whether I walk in or crawl in? They said, yep. And I said, well, you'll see me when I'm crawling. So, but when I stopped dancing, they didn't hurt anymore. But it does sound horrible when I walk up, and especially upstairs. You just wouldn't even believe it. This is kind of gross. Sorry. But Ellie was behind me, and we were walking up the stairs, and she's like, Mommy, do you have like Velcro on that's ripping? And I was like, oh my gosh. It was my knees. It's the sound they make when I go upstairs. And when I told her that, she's like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting. So anyway, yeah, she doesn't like to walk behind me going upstairs anymore. So anyway, so I have not had any surgery on my knees. Then I started having severe pain in my hip. And so had like the steroid injections, whatever, it did not work at all. It literally did nothing. So hold on, I got to flip my page. Hold on. All right. So I mentioned that I had quit. Oh, well, I didn't tell you this. I had hip pain. And they told me, because of what it looked like, that I was eventually going to need a hip replacement. So now we're up to, we only had one shoulder done. Now I was told the other one's going to need to be done. Then 2 knee replacements and a hip replacement. Y'all, exercise is really good for you, but I was teaching so much and it was such an intense class, and then personal training. I was heavy weightlifting. I mean, I was doing it all. And my body was like, ma'am, we are not okay with this. Okay. Like, I needed to be the Tin Man and I needed my joints oiled up. You know what I mean? That's exactly how I felt. So anyway, I had quit teaching at the gym, and that's when I'm flipping the page. That's when I started working at the school. And y'all know I love it. I don't even have to tell you. I love it. I love my babies, all my babies at school. Obviously, because I'm working at the school and I'm not working out for a living, my body did start changing, but nothing like too crazy, you know, but I was just so muscular and my body fat percentage was so low that, you know, I was just really in shape. So, I quit, teaching, working at the school, absolutely amazing. Everything's going fine. And P.S., never had anxiety after. I mean, I've had like some anxiety, but not anxiety attacks or anything like that. I mean, after Joey told me, like, he sat me down and talked to me, it just changed me. It just changed me. I don't know. And after having kids, that was a big one too. After having kids. Now listen, I have worry. I'm a helicopter mom. I like to hashtag myself and call myself the smother mother. That's the truth. Okay. So I was, you know, there'd be worry and stuff like that, but my anxiety, no, it was great. So, the next kind of like era in my life was, unfortunately, the passing of my mom, my best friend. So she passed away 2 years ago in February, and she had stage 4 colon and liver cancer, and she did have it in other little places too, but it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. I mean, I'm not going to get into talking about that, but I didn't take care of myself. That doesn't mean that I overate. I did not exercise. I kind of felt like I was floating. And it wasn't just after she passed. It was, you know, the weeks, I mean, really a couple months or even 3 months leading up to her passing. It was so stressful, and you're just watching somebody that you love deteriorate, and it's just like, you know, it's horrible. And so I just wasn't taking care of myself. I just wasn't. And I honestly, it's like I've almost blocked things out, that it's just like I can't really tell you exactly how I was feeling, because it's like I remember, but it's like I just was in another world. So then something crazy happened. Something really crazy happened. And you're going to be like, I don't know if I've ever heard of that before, but here we go. So, you know, we're just going about our little lives here, okay? Going about our lives. And let me just back up and say this, okay? And this is going to be TMI, but I'm so sorry, but I got to talk about it, okay? It's just too weird not to talk about. So I had been to the gynecologist, like yearly stuff. They're like, when's your last period? And I'm like, 5 years ago or whatever. Like, I didn't have a period for a long time. And they they're like, well, my mom went through menopause early. So I was like, well, that's probably what's shaking. And they're like, you haven't had a period for so long. So, you're in menopause or whatever. And so hadn't had a period for 5 years. And I wake up one morning. This is not that long after my mom passed. And my chest was very sore. And I felt a little nausea. And I was like, it's been a while, but like this is very familiar feeling. I know I've been here before. So anyway, I go to talk to Joey and I'm like, babe, I feel pregnant. And he's like, honey, he's like, that ship has sailed and it's gone off to sea, And I said, babe, I'm telling you right now, I'm just feeling it, So when I was pregnant before, they're like, always go to the dollar store and get your pregnancy tests because they're like the best ones. And so here goes Joey and I. And I'm telling him, I'm like, babe, I feel pregnant. And he goes to where the pregnancy tests are. He just grabs like it was like 10 of them. He's like, well, we're going to make sure, So we get the pregnancy test and I feel like judgment on me as we're checking out, like, oh, these old geezers, maybe they're buying them for their daughter, these pregnancy tests that couldn't possibly be for them. So we get home and I pee and do what I have to do to take that test. And y'all, as certain as the sun comes out in the morning, it was 2 lines that slapped me in the face. Like, it wasn't like, oh, do you see something there? It was like, boom, boom, line. And I was like, oh, Jesus, and this is when we were living on the farm. And I just remember, I guess Joey was outside. I heard the front door like close. So he was coming in. I said, babe, can you come here for a second? And so he goes in. I said, babe, and I showed him. And this is what my husband says. Like, my husband has information in between his ears that I don't even know. I'm like, you should be on Jeopardy. I don't know. Like, he just knows so many random things. So get this. He says, well, I think you can have a positive pregnancy test because like when you're going through menopause, that it can show positive. And I was like, really? So here I go and I look it up on my phone and I was like, how the heck did he know that? He was absolutely right. So I called the gynecologist and I said, I just took, and of course, it wasn't just one pregnancy test. So I said, I'm positive over here, I said, they're like, well, you're going to need to come in for some blood work. And I said, yeah. I said, strange enough, my husband said that if you are going through menopause, like it can be a false positive. And she said, absolutely. She goes, I've had quite a few people that we do blood work on. They're actually not pregnant. And I was like, okay. So we go in, do the blood work, whatever. And I guess it was the next day I was getting the results. I don't remember. No, the next day I went in for blood work and they gave them to me the same day. I had gone in the next day for blood work. So had my blood taken. She assured me again when I was having my blood taken that they've had, several false positives, that the women were actually going through menopause. And I was like, wow, that is so amazing. And amazing that my husband did that. But anyway, she's like, we're going to put this test, put a ASAP on it to make the results hopefully come back today. And I was like, could you do that for me? Because that'd be so great. Because I am a need to know person. Okay. So hello, Gypsy Moon. So anyway, they do call the same day. They were amazing. They got it all in. And the cutest little cutie pie from the gynecologist calls in. "Hey, Miss Amber." And I said, "Hey, well, looks like you're pregnant here." And listen, when she said that, like literally my jaw like dislodged from the joints. And she's like I was like staring. And here she is. "You need to go ahead and start some prenatal vitamins. And also we need to go ahead and set up your ultrasound." And she just kept talking. And I was like, I said, ma'am. I said, "I'm so sorry. I understand the words you're saying, but I don't, are you talking to me?" I don't understand. And I was like, I was in shock. I didn't have a period for 5 years. So I just kept saying, "I don't understand." She goes, "Okay, we can also set up a counseling appointment." And I was like, okay, let me get my life together and let me stop. Because now she's saying I need some counseling because I'm, like in total shock. Anywho, pregnant. Okay, I hang up with her. I had made my ultrasound appointment, all that kind of stuff. So Joey told me, because he was working that day, and he told me, "I don't care where I am, and call me, tell me the results." Because I was like, should I wait till he gets home? He's like, "Nope, tell me, I want to know right away." So I call him and I said, "Babe, I'm pregnant," and I was freaked out, but then I was pregnant, I was like, it's been like a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever. And I'm getting excited. Like, I was so excited. I just went from freaking out to like, oh, I was so bloated and I was so nauseous and all the wonderful things that happened. And I loved every second of it. And so I'll just make this a long story short. So I did eventually have a miscarriage. Unfortunately, I had to have the D&C procedure done, and I put on some weight. I just did. I didn't care about exercising. I just wanted to be comfortable. I wanted to this is how I felt. Almost like when there's a snowstorm and you want to hunker down and make some like yummy foods and just like play games and eat with your family. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted comforting food, and I just wanted to, I don't know, I wanted just to be, and I didn't want to do much. And so this happened not too long after I lost my mom. And so when I found out I was pregnant, and listen, everybody in my family was in shock because they're like, how did that happen? And then of course people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's your mom. She sent you like a baby," and da 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 da, and I was like, oh, but I knew the risks because I knew how old I was, So anyway, I ended up having a miscarriage. I did gain weight from that, I gained weight from that, but I'll tell you what, when we went in for our ultrasound, it was too early of an ultrasound, and Joey goes, "Hey, doc, I know how she got pregnant, but how did she get pregnant if she hasn't had a period for 5 years?" And the doctor just said, all she could say was, well, she was going to ovulate that month, or ovulated that month. And I'm just like, what? Like, just what? So anyway, miscarriage, gained weight. Okay. And then, it was tough, but you know what? We had a conversation and we said, because y'all, I've said it on here before, that if we, we're not trying to get pregnant, and I will share this with you. Let's see, it was probably about a month and a half ago. I had another miscarriage, but it was like a chemical pregnancy. So it was like right in the beginning. So I'm just like, you know what? It's a compliment to my body. Oh, I didn't tell you this. Y'all listen to this. I'm not even kidding. Didn't have a period for 5 years. Get pregnant somehow, And after I had my D&C and whatever, I got my period again. Every 28 days now. I'm regular. What happened there? Anybody know what happened there? I'm not even kidding. So then, you know, because I do like ovulation tests now and that kind of thing, but I'm not stressing about it or anything like that. But we are not trying, if you know what I mean. And so yes, I was pregnant. Like I think it was a month, maybe it was like 2 months ago. I don't know. Time flies so fast. I don't even know what's happening anymore. So anyway, I gained weight from that. Then we also were moving out of the farm to our new home. And we were here, we moved right in the beginning of summer. And so we were just in this house for the whole summer, just like buying stuff for the house and decorating and just eating fun food and just having a good old time. You know what I mean? And I put on weight. So then I went to my yearly exam, back to the gynecologist, and I got on the scale. Now, I told you I'm 5'9", so I do carry my weight well, but I was 201 pounds. 201. 201. And from all of those years of being a fitness instructor, dance instructor, whatever, personal trainer, it was not a fun number to see. And it's hard when people know that you were like trained and exercised for so many years and then they see you that you're bigger and you're falling off the off the wagon. Like it makes it hurt more. You know what I mean? It's like, well, she should know better. She was a trainer and an instructor. She should know better, you know? But anyway, I was like, I have not been in the 200s again. After I had lost all that weight, I never was. So that was a problem. And that was on Joey's birthday. And I said, by golly gee willikers, no more. I will not see anything in the 200s again. Okay. So that leads up to today. So ever since July 25th of, you know, obviously last year, I have been very consistent with my diet. Now, I'm not saying a diet. I'm just saying what I eat in a healthy manner and my exercise. And I've been consistent. And I've lost now 49 pounds since July. And it was the end of July too. Just saying. And like I was saying before, with all the joint pain and everything, the hip pain, y'all, it's all gone. It's all gone. It is fantastic. I feel really, 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 really good. So anyway, I'm just excited about it, you know, but what I wanted to do, first of all, is Joey doesn't watch my videos. But I just want to thank him anyway, because without him, and honestly, my mom was a huge support too, but without Joey, like Joey was, I said it, this requires consistency to be successful. Well, he was my first consistency, seriously. Like he always took care of me and made me feel like my feelings were valid. I was okay and I was safe and everything. So, I wanted to make this video because I wanted to, I mean, that was a lot of information, y'all. You just learned a lot about me. You didn't know my, like, what I did before I was a YouTuber and working at the school. So now you have, like, all that information. And maybe things make more sense to you. I don't know. But it was a lot of information. And if I have family that watches this, they're going to be like, there's some things that, I mean, that they may not have known either. And so, because when I was going through those Paxil times, I mean, or before the Paxil, sorry, you know, I mean, I was in that apartment, you know, and I kept to myself. But anyway, I really wanted to lay out this foundation for you first. And with my experience of being a group fitness instructor and a personal trainer, a motivator, I did not want to sit here and say, for the first time mentioning my weight loss, I didn't want to say, well, this is what I eat in a day and da-da-da-da-da. Excuse me. I didn't want to do that because I need you to know where I'm coming from first. just like when I sat down with my personal training clients for the first time, I wanted them to tell me their story. And then I shared some of my story with them, and they are looking at me like, oh, yeah, this girl's all fit and da 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 da. And then I told them that how much I don't even know what my top weight was, but it was, it was probably just over 350. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. It was a lot because I didn't weigh myself. I did weigh myself to a certain point, and then I stopped, and I just gained so much. So, I guess as of now, I can't tell you how much total weight I've lost because I don't know what my top was, but, if it was 350 and now I weigh 152.8. Anyway, so I'm not telling you what I eat in this video because I wanted to share that with you first, and then I will show you what I eat, and I'll show you like what keeps me going. And something else that I did think about that I really don't know if I'm going to do or not yet, guys. I'm considering it, but I don't know if I want to take this leap. Because of all my joints, like my shoulders and my knees and my hips, even though they feel better, they still aren't in good shape. So the exercises that I do are like, muscle building, but I have to use very light weights, very simple movements and that kind of thing. And I was kind of thinking I may do like an exercise video here and there. I don't know. I just said it. Do I want to do it? I don't know. Because I just like to be consistent with light sculpty exercise. It's so important to have, I said sculpty. What does that mean? It's so important as we age to keep our muscle mass up. It keeps us safe, keeps us really safe. So I want to make sure I keep doing that. Anyway, thank you all if you've stuck around to the end. I know this is going to be a crazy long video, but I wanted to share my story with you. I appreciate you watching. I love y'all so much. Y'all are just the best, making me feel so good all the time. I can't believe some places when y'all leave me messages where you're watching from. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing to hear. So anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful day. We will have weight loss, what I eat a day videos and all that kind of stuff coming up real soon. But anyway, take care, friends. We'll see you in the next Farmhouse Table video. Bye. Mwah.